Hey guys, this is Donegan with Exceed Your Goals Fitness, and today I want to talk about something that I think is crucially important for long-term health and sustainability when it comes to physical exercise, and that is strengthening the rotator cuff. Now, if you look at almost any professional athlete, bodybuilder, fitness competitor, anyone who's got to train on a daily basis for their entire lifespan, almost any of them, when they reach a veteran age, will say, I wish I knew the importance of strengthening my rotator cuff. Many of them wind up in surgeries that cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're put away from training for months at a time, recovering and rehabilitating their shoulder. And you think about it, your shoulder's involved in just about everything your arm does. So it's really devastating to your life to not be able to use your shoulder correctly. Now, as you gain strength in your shoulder, or when you do any kind of exercise that involves moving weight around with your shoulder, the muscles and tendons inside of it are not as strong as the deltoid muscle on the outside. So when you weights that you can easily manage with your chest muscle, your arms, and your deltoid, sometimes get put in a scenario where the weight has been shifted over entirely onto the muscles inside of your rotator cuff, which are much weaker and often can't handle them. So this is why you'll often feel injuries and strains in your rotator cuff, and if it's bad enough, it can actually tear all the way, and that might involve a major surgery. Very expensive. And so even though it's not the sexiest thing in the world to go in there and work on your rotator cuff, commit some sets to it each week, so you're not going to have a really hot looking rotator cuff anyone's going to notice. You probably won't notice an immediate performance increase, but you consider how much worse off you'll perform and look when you have to sit in bed, or probably not in bed, but you wouldn't be able to perform at all or to your peak if you have serious injuries in your rotator cuff. So it's important, and I think personally a lot of people advocate doing rotator cuff exercises at the beginning of your workout. I personally think it's much better to do them at the end of your workout, because it's a strengthening exercise just like anything else, and you don't want to pre-exhaust your rotator cuff and go in and do some really heavy shoulder presses with a heavy weight. That I think could lead to injury. I prefer to do active stretches like rotating your arms, those type of stretches prior to working, so that'll provide the blood flow without necessarily putting weight on it. Now, there's a variety of exercises you can use to target the rotator cuff. Things like face pulls are great. Those exercises are, I guess some people call them lucky cats, where you got a dumbbell, maybe like a 5-pound dumbbell, and you're doing this type of guy with it. You got internal, external rotations you can do with a cable or a dumbbell. Those are great exercises. But it's important when you do these to do them with a very low weight. When you're doing with a dumbbell, 5 pounds is probably good. You're doing them with a cable machine, use the lowest setting. That's probably going to be good, because if you bring in too much weight, your deltoid's going to take over, and then you're not really going to be targeting the rotator cuff effectively. So even though it's probably easier to do those weights, you could probably do them with exponentially higher amounts of weight. Resist it. Use a light weight. This is not about showing off who can lift the most weight on rotator cuff exercises. Now, another thing that's important on the rotator cuff is controlling your weight. When you're coming down on exercises such as let's say you're doing a standing shoulder press and you decide to bring the weight down, that's when you're liable to hurt your rotator cuff. When you're picking up your dumbbells to do dumbbell press, I myself, I'm working out with 85 pound dumbbell in each hand on dumbbell press, just getting that up, putting it on my knee, that's when a lot of times I feel, if I don't do it with great control, that's where I could hurt myself. So it's important when you're moving weights around inside the joint, directions particularly that are diagonal and that kind of thing. Any sport where you hit balls, hit tennis balls, just do anything with, yoga. People who do yoga are often susceptible to rotator cuff injuries because they're shifting their body weight around on their arms. So these types of things, they affect everyone who does anything with the arms. And the stronger your rotator cuff is, the stronger you can get your deltoids. And some people will get their deltoids to a level of strength where they could, do shoulder presses with these crazy amounts of weight, but their rotator cuff is weak, and at any moment that weight could, shift in there and be put on the tendons and muscles inside the rotator cuff and result in a severe injury. So it's important to work on your rotator cuff strength. There's plenty of exercises, videos online that will show you those exercises. I will, in the future, create some videos to help explain some of these exercises, but the main message I'm trying to convey today is that it's crucially important that you put some time in to directly work on the strength of your rotator cuff. Even though people can't see it, it's not aesthetic, but you'll look a lot better everywhere else if you can consistently train throughout your life. And part of that is protecting your rotator cuff. Thanks, guys. This is Barry Donegan with Exceed Your Goals Fitness, and today's message: strengthen that rotator cuff.